last night, shortly after 11 o'clock, this is according to Steve Schmidt, who writes the warning for Substack. Oh, and by the way, I've been informed that I will be writing for Substack coming fairly soon, possibly this week, maybe next week. So look for that, okay? But anyway, this was Steve Schmidt. And as he points out, what was written by the orange bastard and posted to his little toy social media platform is not funny. Although one wonders if Trump were trying to be funny, or if he were just being an asshole, or if he was totally ignorant. But this is what the orange bastard posted on his toy website. Quote, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariff and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all." The governor of the great state of Canada. Now, you can say, oh, come on, Malloy, give this orange bastard a break. He meant it as a joke. No, I'm not going to do that, because with this orange son of a bitch, you never know. He is the dumbest man ever to be in the position of commander-in-chief, have at his access more destructive power than any human in the history of the human race, yada, 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 yada. But anyway, as Steve Schmidt then goes to point out, the stupid among us, and there are multitudes. As a matter of fact, take a look at the people who voted for him last time. They won't understand why what he put up there isn't even remotely funny. In fact, it's shameful. But the dumbasses, the maggots, will not get it. They'll understand that, or they might confuse Trump with a character from South Park. But it doesn't change the reality that his disrespect to Canada, as Steve puts it, desecrated something that doesn't belong to him again. And then Schmidt points out 40,000 Canadians fought in Afghanistan after the 9/11 attack on Lower Manhattan. 40,000 Canadians. 158 Canadians were killed in action. This is important, because not just from the standpoint of this dumb son of a bitch Trump desecrating them, but from the fact that these Canadian people participated in what we were doing in Afghanistan. And I've maintained for a long time, we fucking never should have sent the hundreds of thousands of troops to Afghanistan that we did. Never. It should have been an action taken by an assassin squad or Interpol to track down the people who trained the bombers and bring them to justice, or shoot them on the fucking spot. It doesn't matter to me, but to invade an entire country. And remember, Afghanistan is the place that empires go to die. Whether it was the Mongol Empire or the Greeks or the British twice or the Russians or the Americans, tell me one that has succeeded in defeating the Afghan people. Well, there aren't any. But I digress. 158 Canadians were killed in action in Afghanistan, and thousands more were wounded, and thousands more were left to deal with the cost of war. And the only thing that any of us here in America should express to our Canadian neighbors for all this, I guess, is gratitude. And as Steve points out, friends owe each other nothing more and nothing less. Now, I say I guess because I hate killing, mass killing. I hate war. It's such a filthy fucking thing. It's like religion. It is designed, and when it's used properly, kills, destroys, blows up, tears down, ends lives. So that's my hesitancy in expressing gratitude to our Canadian neighbors. I appreciate their sacrifice and the fact that they came to the aid of the United States at a time when we didn't know whether to shit or go blind. I mean, Midtown or Lower Manhattan bombed. So the Orange Bastard's hostility towards the United States military, which is ongoing, is permanent. He's a cowardly little prick. He does not understand the kind of sacrifice that I wish would never happen. But it does happen. And he doesn't understand that. And he's just an evil son of a bitch when he talks about the people who have died supposedly defending the United States, and he refers to them as suckers. And what did they have to gain from it? And the fact is that most of us in this country, most Americans, are so far removed from the military, from the organization that ostensibly is set up to defend us. We just are. We have a standing military of what, 1 million people, I guess, out of 350 million of us. But most people couldn't tell a major from a sergeant major from a major general. I mean, who knows about that stuff, right? And that's okay as long as people don't forget to remember that the day before many yesterdays, that there were occasions when the men buried in places like Arlington were called to lay down their lives so that unborn Americans could be born free. And as Steve Schmidt points out, that's what Abraham Lincoln called the last full measure of devotion to the Union. And it should always, in fact, leave us in awe, no matter what our stance is on war. And I'm sure most people, and I mean this, I think most people are anti-war. I mean, who wants that? But anyway, it should never not leave us in awe. Did I misstate that last little bit there? It should always leave us in awe that people are willing to do that. But it doesn't. We don't. Starting with this orange bastard. That's why the orange bastard can say shitty things about people like John McCain, or the people who fought a Corregidor in World War II, or the survivors of the Bataan Death March that the Japanese perpetrated against American POWs. And that's why this orange bastard feels that he can go to Arlington National Cemetery and use it in a fucking political ad and drop his candy bars wrappers on the ground. It's also why, as Steve points out, this unconscionable son of a bitch can go to Europe and desecrate America's fallen in the Argonne and Normandy from 2 world wars. Trump doesn't give a shit. And it's also why he can nominate a drunk, a wife, a woman abuser, a rapist to head the Defense Department. You know, this fucking Hegseth accused of raping a woman, being unable to control his rotten behavior that was evidence on the Fox sewer to the California Federation of Republican Women's Conference in Monterey, California, when he sexually assaulted, I'll call it rape, this woman. And it gets down to, this is one more insult. Trump appointing this asshole, Hegseth, is one more insult to men and women who have served in this country, whether they wanted to or not. People who have died at very young age in fighting for the United States. And for Trump to appoint a fucking drunk, it's just, well, Steve Schmidt says, how dare we let him? It is disgusting. Well, what are we going to do to stop him? I don't think there is anything, is there? Well, there is one thing, but, we don't talk about that. And the Supreme Court has ruled that Mr. Trump now has the divine right of kings. Excuse me, the Magna Carta can fuck off. That was for the Brits anyway, not for us, right? The divine right of kings is now Trump's. And he's surrounded, all of these scum bastards that surround him, it's just a collection of phony tough guys who fetishize the U.S. military. They try to dress up like them. They try to pretend they're special forces or something when they attack the U.S. Capitol. And soon, some of these people are going to be holding some of the most powerful, potentially powerful jobs on earth. And right now, some of them are out hawking vitamins and other crap on podcasts to the dumb shits with the backward red hats, where any kind of bullshit can be spun into gold. As Steve puts it, ignorance can be pressed into diamonds, and the philosophy of the asshole converted into Bitcoin. Oh my God, Bitcoin. Trump has around him a whole cadre of billionaires who just cannot fucking wait to begin this massive global Ponzi scheme that is going to remove trillions of dollars from the global economy with this goddamn play money, this imaginary horseshit called Bitcoin. Oh my God, how... The cryptocurrency. Crypto, it means hidden. The cryptocurrency. People are going to, with their greed and their fucking stupidity, that's a lethal combination, by the way. Well, not for the scam artists who just can't wait to get their hands around the necks of these dumb fuckers who are stupid and greedy, who will be converting all the retirement money or whatever they have saved up into cryptocurrency. Yeah, I'm going to be a trillionaire. There seems little chance that anyone connected to this orange fucker has ever told him about the heroic legacy of the joint Canadian-U.S. commando unit that was known by this is during World War II. It was known by the Nazis as, quote, the Devil's Brigade. These were Canadians and American fighters, commandos. And as Steve points out, I didn't know this, did you? They left the calling card that chilled the Nazis who found it on the bodies of dead Nazis. It was an 8 of spades with the unit logo of this group of commandos. And on it, it said, the worst is yet to come. No, Trump doesn't know shit like that. And if somebody told him, he would say, well, what's the point in that? I mean, what did they have to gain? Did they steal some of the gold, those Nazis? Now, if they rampaged through Europe and stole gold and hid it someplace, okay. Hey, let's go find it. Son of a bitch. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.